Hi everyone, Ed Robertson, hoping you're enjoying the holiday weekend. We are taking a few days off ourselves and we'll be back with a brand new edition of TV Confidential next week. In the meantime, we thought we'd bring you what we'll call a blast from the past, an excerpt from one of our conversations that you may have heard before, but probably haven't heard in a long time. We hope you'll enjoy.
Hi, this is Dawn Wells. Guess what we're listening to? TV Confidential.
A tale of a fateful trip that started from this tropic port aboard this tiny ship.
All right, so let's start January 2nd, 1990.
Skipper!
Yeah, that was when we lost the skipper, and it is, I think, poetic that we refer to as the skipper.
Well, I think up to the day he died,
He was.
He was. He embraced himself. That being Alan Hale Jr.
Yeah. And, I think there are very few that you know affectionately by the character name. I would say, if somebody was referring to Charlton Heston as Moses, there was a certain sense of irony or something like that.
Or Dead Cold Hands.
Yeah, Dead Cold Hands or something like that. But I would say, people called Al Lewis Grandpa until the end. I think Will Geer also had kind of the grandpa thing. But I think there were certain people that they just knew as that character. They embraced that character. That's how, and they were cool with that.
And for a generation, we grew up with the skipper, and it was a good man.
Yeah, he was. Everyone described him. I'd never heard an ill thing said about the guy. He was just a lovable teddy bear kind of guy, which is exactly what they needed for the show.
And he embraced the skipper. I mean, even after Gilligan was long gone, Gilligan's Island was long gone.
I'm going to share a passage from Dawn Wells' new book, What Would Mary Ann Do?, which is available through our friends at Bear Manor Media. And as we mentioned a few weeks ago, Dawn, among other things, Dawn pays tribute to each of the cast members, and this is her tribute to Alan Hale. Every time Alan Hale hugged me, my feet left the ground. He was a big man in every way. The man was never, ever cranky. I understand that when he heard of the Gilligan's Island part, Alan was making a Western in Utah. He rode his horse to the highway and hitched into Los Angeles for the audition. What you saw on film was what you saw in person. He could fill a room with his smile. A great guy, everybody's friend, so full of laughter and gentleness for his size. I never saw him angry or disgruntled. I think he was permanently gruntled, if there is such a word. No trace of a star's ego.
That makes me really happy.
Yeah, it's nice to hear that confirmed because, like I said, you never heard anything ill of the guy. He used to have a restaurant on La Cienega Boulevard when I was a kid that he would frequently be there to greet everyone.
Skipper
Alan Hale's Lobster Barrel.
Okay.
And on the sign outside, and I'm sure you could find it on YouTube somewhere, is a picture of him, pretty much the skipper, basically a sketch of him with the famous hat, and it's inside of a captain's wheel, like the opening of Gilligan's Island, and then the rest is a series of barrels as part of the decor, because these were lobsters fresh flown in from Maine daily, and he had an office not too far, and his office was a building not far from my elementary school. He had a car, and in the back of the car, you saw all sorts of literature for the Lobster Barrel. You saw a couple of spare skipper hats in the back seat. I mean, so you kind of knew who it was, and he made no secret. Yeah, he was a skipper. But you go to dinner, and you might meet the skipper there, greeting you, alongside the maitre d', and going from table to table. And, for a kid, that was a really cool experience.
When I moved to Los Angeles, I flew in on a Friday. Saturday, a friend of mine was driving me around the city, and we drove down La Cienega, and I saw the restaurant, Skipper Alan Hale's. I got so excited. Gilligan's Island had always been one of my favorite TV shows. Didn't know this existed, and my friend said, "Yeah, I hear he's there a lot." And I got starstruck. I mean, I've been in Los Angeles less than 12 hours at this point. I got so excited, and I'm kicking myself for never getting there.
Yeah, he was. Then the thing was, he was working. It wasn't like the poor guy is stuck,
No.
shaking hands
No.
at a lobster play. He was constantly working,
Yeah.
and whether whether he was playing himself as the skipper or playing the skipper in the reunion movies or like movies like Back to the Beach, or they wanted the skipper type, he did it,
Yeah.
and he
And embraced it.
and embraced it. But
Or as you would say, he owned it.
he owned it, yeah. But he would do a Love Boat where he was, high up in the Princess Cruise organization, or So I think the nautical element of him always stayed there, but he got to play a few other parts, the cowboys and stuff. But like I said, he owned it, and
Well, it's what I'm thinking is, particularly in the last decade or so of his life. You know how Larry Hagman always wore the Stetson whenever he did appearances or television or whatnot? Much the same with Alan Hale. I mean, because he knew that was his role, and that was. I mean, people wanted to see that, and he gave. I mean, he would do appearances always wearing the cap.
Yes.
yeah, George Lindsay, same thing with the hat, the goober cap. So he was cremated, buried at sea. Don Wells, I know, had talked about representing the cast at that time, and it became a big media circus. So I mean, you hear about these events and you think they're going to be a quiet, private ceremony, but he warranted the big helicopters and everything. Unfortunately, disrupting the ceremony, but it's that does say something that this guy meant.
Well, a big man with a big heart deserves a big send-off.
Yeah, and he certainly got it. But it's funny, you bring up somebody like him and people smile and they know him, and I would say like somebody like John Banner from Hogan's Heroes, also same thing, big teddy bear of a guy, tragic early life, but still it's like nobody ever said anything bad about it. It's like going to work with Santa Claus.
Yeah, and we've said this before. When enough people say it and pretty much confirm it, then it has to be true.
Yeah. John Candy, same thing.
Yeah.
Never an ill word, just, nothing but you mention the person's name, and obviously you can't see it. It might come out in our voice, but people just smile when you mention that person's name. So I think that is a true legacy for the man.
One more item. If you're starting a company, particularly one that is in an emerging market, you know that averting any sort of legal dispute is crucial to your business plan. Our friends at Tectonic Law offer an array of services that can help you avoid and preempt future litigation while also developing and protecting your intellectual property and intangible assets. Tectonic Law serves the needs of a host of emerging industries throughout California and beyond, including industrial designers, beverage makers, artists, farmers, retail stores, health practitioners, wellness experts, cosmetics manufacturers, nonprofit organizations, innovators in sustainable practices, and libraries. Go to tectoniclaw.com to learn more about how Tectonic Law can help your business thrive. tectoniclaw.com. Rock solid representation for groundbreaking industries.
This portion of TV Confidential is brought to us by our friends at Front Porch Realty, the community of realtors in the Northern Bay area of California that is committed to finding the solution that is best for their clients. Whether you're a first-time home buyer or looking to sell or lease your property in Northern California, call Karen Strain at 415-886-7411 or visit frontporchrealtygroup.com for more information on how they can help you.
Be part of our conversation. If you like what you hear, have thoughts on this week's program, or have an idea for a future edition of TV Confidential, we'd love to hear from you. You can email us at talk@tvconfidential.net, talk@tvconfidential.net. You can also message us at facebook.com/tvconfidential, x.com/tvconfidential, or at TV Confidential on Instagram. And if you're listening to us on the TV Confidential podcast, please be sure to hit the subscribe button.